God damn, episode 2 of Cut the Western shit, and we might already have a lawsuit. I mean, shit, I'll probably end up dead by episode 10 at this rate. If you're not familiar with what has gone on recently, I'll give you a quick recap. Approximately 3 days ago, I released episode 2 of Cut the Western shit, in which I criticized NIGHTBLUE3 for falsely accusing a fellow streamer named Weekend of win trading in his games. I also claimed that NIGHTBLUE3 was a hypocrite, and that he uses a fake personality in order to retain his viewers. In order to illustrate these points, I used clips of NIGHTBLUE3 accusing Weekend of win trading, and I also used clips of him blatantly attacking other streamers such as myself and Cutie and contradicting himself. Now, approximately 23 hours after I released this video, the video was DMCA'd or copyright claimed by OMNIA, which is NIGHTBLUE3's YouTube network. The main reason that I believe my video to be wrongfully copyrighted by NIGHTBLUE and OMNIA is because of a term called fair use. If you aren't familiar with the term fair use is the doctrine that brief excerpts of copyright material may, under circumstances, be quoted verbatim for purposes such as criticism, news reporting, teaching, and research, without the need for permission from or payment to the copyright holder. Now, the main word you have to look at here is criticism, because my video essentially boils down to 9 minutes of NIGHTBLUE3 criticism. In no way do I believe that my video was misconstrued as a market substitute for a NIGHTBLUE3 video. I mean, there is a significant difference between a 10,000 AP Zoe one-shot, my dog's eyeballs popped out of his skull when he saw this build, and my video, which focuses on NIGHTBLUE3 being fake towards his viewers and claiming that Weekend was cheating in his games. I'd go as far as to say that NIGHTBLUE3's clips were actually the worst parts of my video. The only reason that I had those clips in there was so that I could prove and give evidence to the fact that NIGHTBLUE3 was indeed saying the things that I was claiming he was saying. Obviously, I'm not one to take things like this laying down, which is why I filed a counter takedown notice, but things like this normally take a while to resolve. A lot of people were kind enough to remind me that my mom is a lawyer, and as much as I'd like to play the "But ma'am, NIGHTBLUE and OMNIA are bullying me on YouTube" card, unfortunately, it's not applicable here. My mom is actually the global chair of trust and estates at Greenberg Trareg, meaning that the only way that her expertise would be useful is if, let's say, NIGHTBLUE killed himself and needed his assets redistributed amongst his family members. Now, I have a really tough time believing that OMNIA, a network that represents hundreds of YouTubers, most notably H3H3, who had the biggest fair use case in the history of YouTube, doesn't understand what constitutes fair use. I mean, I would personally guess that the reason they DMCA'd my video is because they didn't like the way that I portrayed NIGHTBLUE, but I guess all of this will be for the courts to decide. Now that all that bullshit is out of the way, we can jump into my opinion on NIGHTBLUE3's response to my video. I know a lot of people on Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube claimed that NIGHTBLUE was a pussy or that this was a bitch move by him trying to copyright claim my video, but I think that this was just downright lazy. I mean, the hardest hitting point of my video was that NIGHTBLUE3 tries to consistently hide things that make him look bad, which is why I used a VOD that he ended up deleting to make my argument. Him copyright claiming my video just proves this point even further. Taking this route is essentially an admission of guilt. Basically, since he couldn't dispute the merits of my video, he decided to just try to cover it up again. Besides the approach being terrible in general, the timing was also extremely off. I mean, he ended up DMCAing it about 23 hours after the video had been released and had essentially gone viral by league standards with 300,000 views in that day that it was up. In a way, it just made the video seem more epic. I mean, I had fiends showing up to my door and shit. Hey, yo, Dom, man, you got that video, man? Man, you got that shit? Man, I suck your dick for that video, man. Now, because I made the assertion that your response to the situation was terrible, I decided to come up with a couple responses that would have undoubtedly made you look considerably better in this circumstance. I know I made it seem like you only had 2 options, but I was just being a little facetious. You actually had multiple options. Apparently, you couldn't be bothered to come up with these yourself, so I decided to just spoon feed you some. The first option that would have completely destroyed my credibility in the video would be to somehow come up with screenshots or some type of chat logs or proof that Weekend was indeed paid to throw your game. If you were somehow able to prove this, you would have completely voided my entire video and just made me look like a complete idiot. Unfortunately, I don't believe this to be possible because I believe that by the end of the video, even you, Rabia, don't believe that Weekend was actually win trading in your games. The The second option you had was to apologize to Weekend. Now, I know that you didn't apologize to him on Reddit, and the only thing you typed on Twitter regarding this incident was LOL in all caps. Now, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you sent a carrier pigeon towards Weekend, but that still hasn't arrived yet, so I'm just gonna have to say that this was not a good response either. The third option I came up with was for you to do a little bit of research on me and maybe find a time where I called somebody a win trader. This would have been a good deflection tactic and would have made me look like a hypocrite. The final option that you had here, Rabia, is to admit that you did fuck up, but then also claim that I hold no moral superiority over you. Even though intelligent viewers might be able to discern that I was actually talking about how fake you were and I wasn't claiming that I was morally superior to you, this would have at least muddied the waters a little bit and made me look like an asshole too. This is the last time that I'm going to speak about NIGHTBLUE3 or OMNIA on my channel most likely. I just felt obligated to come out and respond to the fact that my video was falsely copyright claimed. Now I know I ended up titling my video Finding NIGHTBLUE, and I think that at the end of this video we have done just that. NIGHTBLUE3 is nothing more than a coward. Do want to thank everyone who came out, liked all my tweets, and retweeted them and helped fight for fair use, because I think it's really important that YouTubers are able to speak their mind and speak freely on subjects within limits. And I don't think that we should just be silenced here on this platform. So thanks, guys.